Hello and welcome back to our channel Forensic Science Public Desk India, and this is the topic on species determination, or we can also say as identification of species by practicing serological techniques. This is lecture 17 of Forensic Medicine UGC Net Forensic Science. Let's proceed into the topic. Objectives of species determination. So first, identification of species of origin is our main objective. We are going to identify which species it was. So basically, forensically important cases. First, we are going to identify the given biological fluid. It can be the blood, can be the fluid, vaginal stain or semen, saliva, etc. Anything it can be. We need to identify which species it is. So based on the serological tests, we are going to perform certain kind of experiments. So this particular test will be including field test as well as the laboratory test, and these are based on the serological principles. And this particular test is conducted to exclude or eliminate non-human samples unrelated to an investigation. So this is the point which we have to remember. Most of the cases, whether it is a homicide or suicide or any other accidental case, we are going to, if we are observing or we are having certain kind of biological samples, we are collecting them, and main aim is to identify whether it is of human or not. Okay, if it is human, further analysis is required, and if it is non-human, then if it is a case of wildlife abuse or wildlife killing or something illegal related to wildlife act, then we have to identify which species it was, which animal or which species it is. So what is the process and general applications? Common field tests will be including immunochromatographic devices. So small devices will be there, like a small scale sized device will be there, in which we are going to introduce the sample, and the color change in the test zone and the color change in the control zone will be giving us the results. And applications, we can see it in killing, trading, possession of illegal species or related articles. This is only the presumptive test what we are going to discuss now in this video. And latest techniques for species identification is important in wildlife forensics to identify various species, as like we have just said. So what are those latest techniques are is the DNA analysis, which can be performed using commonly used loci at the mitochondrial cytochrome B gene, so that is also known as site B. The cytochrome C oxidase 1 gene is also used to identify the animal species, that is COI in short, and we can also test for delooped region. So these are the specific sites in animal genes to identify which animal it is, or if it is non-human particular kind of blood fluid or any other biological fluid. So these are the things relevant with the species of identification, and I'm repeating again, this is just about the introduction, and this is just about the presumptive test. We are going to just focus on whether it is human or non-human sample. Before understanding this basic procedure and principles of determination of species, we need to understand what are the basic types of antibodies which are present in the human body. First one is albumin. It is the most abundant protein serum which is present in human blood, and it is actually the reason. So as like we have discussed in the case of burns, when the blisters are formed, the blisters are filled with certain kind of fluid. That fluid is nothing but the albumin. So albumin is having certain kind of important role in our body. That means it will be carrying various types of nutrients, hormones, and other biological agents to various parts of the body. It can also include certain kind of toxins as well when we are discussing about the toxicology. So like that, albumin is most important abundant source, and it is a protein. To albumin there are certain antibodies which can be created from animal. So anti albumin antibodies can be created, which can be used against the humans to identify the human antibodies. That means human antigens which are present in the body. Then anti-human hemoglobin is one of the antibody which can identify the hemoglobin of human. Hemoglobin is an oxygen transport protein which you have already know. So that is the main reason why the blood is red in color, and how the various parts of our body is able to get oxygen due to the blood supply, that is found in erythrocytes. So erythrocyte is red in color due to the hemoglobin. So here we are going to focus on hemoglobin antigen is able to be identified by anti-human hemoglobin. Okay, that's simple. Then on erythrocyte membrane, we are going to have one kind of antigen that is called as glycophorin A, shortly known as GPA. This protein can also be identified by certain antibodies. So these are the basic antibodies which we have to remember, so that we will be able to perform certain kind of experiments to identify the species. Then coming to the conditions, what are the conditions which we have to provide to conduct certain kind of experiments? First is the buffer. So the medium which we want to create for conducting certain kind of experiments related to this species identification, we need to create proper buffer which is possible when we are providing the polymers in this solution. So polymers will be maintaining the balanced condition for the reaction. So the most favorable polymer is polyethylene glycol, which is used in our general experiments. Okay, then temperature and pH are also playing very important role, and ionic bond, ionic condition of various components which are present in the sample are also going to play important role. If there is more ionic radii, then the particular reaction will be very low and very less concentration will be there. So it is irrespective. Then we can see standard titration tests for antiserum and antibodies used for testing. So you can refer this to a simple image where we have taken antigens in all the test tubes in constant level. So all the test tubes are having equal amount of antigens in it, and we are going to add certain kind of amount of antibodies in them. So antibodies, as like we are adding in them undiluted 1.5 we are adding, 1/4 we are adding, 1/8 we are adding, 1/16, 1/32, 1/64, like that. As long we are going on adding, the higher concentration, higher possible concentration where we are able to see the less amount of agglutination reaction, that will be giving us the particular concentration where the antibodies are reacting, the higher concentration. So here we have to understand one more thing. First we are going to take an antigen. As we are adding only one antibody to it, one antibody is able to react with two antigens because it is having two arms. If you see the antibody structure, it is having two arms. It is going to react with two antigens. If two antigens are occupied, then there is no more capability of another antibody to take up any other antigen. So that is the limitation. It is over. The concentration of antibody will be increasing inside the test tube. So that is what we are going to see here. In the concentration of 1/16, the complete antigens are being consumed by the antibody, and no other antigens are there by the stage of 1/32, and 1/64 there is very less concentration of antigens in it, more antibodies are there, and by 1/28 the complete diminishes of the antigens can be seen. That means there are no more antigens in that. If you are adding more antibodies, the complete visibility of antigens will be gone. So if you want to see what is the maximum extent to visible or to see the agglutination reaction or to see the precipitation reaction of the antibody and antigen, that is 1/64. This is just an example. So in that particular way only, there are certain standards which are fixed to certain antibodies. So you are buying certain kind of testing kit. So how testing kit is created? Based on this particular method, standardization of this particular testing. So in field test and as well as in laboratory test, immunochromatographic assays are most common, in which identification of human hemoglobin protein is seen. So immunochromatographic assays of identification of hemoglobin in human blood is seen in this particular way. So we are having the two-armed anti-hemoglobin antibody, the first image, and we are also having hemoglobin. So the both will be added, bond will be formed, and this bond is going to react with another antibody that is present in the test zone. Okay, so it is giving us the color development. Now in this particular stage we are able to see the color development. Then after reaction which is occurring, the diffusion still occurs. The antibodies which were there right from beginning are going to continue and go into the control zone, where it will also react the antibody will also react with the control zone antibody, and it will be forming the color change. Okay, so this is a simple reaction. Antibody reaction can be seen in the control zone. In test zone, sandwich formation is there. Antigen is there in between and two antibodies are forming above and below. That is this sandwiching technique. So in which the color development will be there still, and the actual testing kit, if you see the first image, pink color line is formed. Okay, so this pink color line, this is particular test of hematrace is the kit which is available in the market, and in this particular kit only the testing will be done. You can see the first block where they will be introducing the sample, and after a sample is been introduced, within 5 minutes you can see these particular antigens of hemoglobin are migrating and diffusing into the further step, that is the testing zone. T means testing zone. Okay, if in the T you are able to see the pink line or the blue line, these both are different kits. Okay, I am referring the first image, first kit which is forming the pink, and that is T line, that is testing zone. If testing zone is been colored, that means it is a positive test. Okay, human hemoglobin is present in that. So coming to the hematrace or identification of hemoglobin protein is a very sensitive test, and this particular test is into the microliters level. That means very minute 5 microliters of blood can also be identified by using this particular test in deciliters of blood. So then it can be also be identified, it can also be getting positive if you are introducing the semen sample or vaginal sample or buccal swab samples. So even such samples are introduced into the sample way, then also you will be getting the positive result. That means there are certain possibilities that you may get negative positive result, so false negative we can say. So like that this particular reaction can be seen. Identification of human glycophorin A protein, that is GPA. So this is also in similar way as like in human immunochromatographic assay of identification of GPA. You can see the anti-GPA antibody is used and GPA is there. Where the GPA will be present, it is an antigen which is present on the membrane of erythrocyte, that is RBC cell, and it is going to react with our antibody. So this is the structure of GPA which is given in the right side image, and in this particular reaction both are going to bind, and in test zone we are able to see the color development due to the sandwiching of antigen between two antibodies, and in control zone we are able to see the diffusion of the antibody successfully done or not. So whether the reaction took place or not is going to be identified in the control zone color change. So this particular test can be done by testing kit called RSID. This is a commercially available testing kit which we can do the test for GPA. So how GPA is more useful compared to the hemoglobin? So GPA is more specific to humans only. That means in previous test, if you are doing hemoglobin test, more primate animals, more mammals and many other mammals are having hemoglobin in them, red in blood color will be there. So identifying blood is confirmed in previous test, but in this particular test, glycophorin test, human identification is confirmed. That means species identification, that means human is been isolatedly identified. So that is what the importance of the test. And there is one more advantage, very less sample, that is 100 nanoliters of blood can also be identified. Okay, and one more important thing about this test is if you are giving a semen sample or vaginal sample or any other bodily fluid of human, it cannot be tested. You may not get the positive result through that. Only blood is required for this. So it is biological fluid can also be eliminated. That means only blood is specific for this, and only human blood is specific for this, making it more unique test for identifying of human species. Few more techniques are also there to identify the species. So these techniques are called double immunodiffusion SS, in which you can see simple concept, the both antibody and antigen are going to diffuse at one time on from the opposite sides, and a precipitate will be formed. So otherwise you can call this test as precipitin test also. So first test, simple test which we can understand, take antibody or anti-serum, both are same, take in a test tube, and other layer you are going to take the antigen solution. So from human you can take or from animal you can take. If there is a precipitate which is formed, so that is stating that the particular precipitate is of indicating human blood. If it is the anti-serum, whatever it is there, anti-human antibody is there as anti-serum, then if the ring of precipitates is formed, then the antigens are belonging to the human. Simple concept. Okay, then you can see this particular test, Archeloni test. In Archeloni test you can see 3 vials are created, 3 holes. So on all 3 holes, in first red color hole you are able to see that is antibody, anti-human antibody. Okay, the precipitate which is formed is between the particular 2 holes. The antigen 1, it can be of human, and antigen 2, it can be of human or animal, anything. One we will take known, another we will take unknown. So this test is most commonly used. You can see, search YouTube videos also, which will be giving you practical exposure as well. So in this particular reaction, if there is only single line as like the first image, that is both antigen 1 and antigen 2 are identical, both are same. That's why we are getting a plain geometrical line between the 3 dots. If it is intersecting, if 2 lines are intersecting, that is nothing but it is non-identical, both are different. Antigen 1 and antigen 2 are both are different. One can be human, other can be animal. So like that. So other one, the third one is partially identical. That means other one, first one may be human, and third one, the second one may be any other antigen, but it is not similar, not so identical, only partial reaction. So the real images can also be seen, in which you will be taking a glass slide on which we are going to place the agarose gel and make the holes, and in those holes we are going to place the antibody, anti-serum, or we can take the antigens into other holes, where by keeping it for incubation few minutes you will be able to see this reaction. The last one is crossover electrophoresis, where we are going to place the different types of antibodies and antigens. So the right side is the antigens place, and the left side is of antibodies place. Red dots are having positive charge, and this black dots are having negative charge. By applying this charge, very instantly the reaction may occur. Both will be diffusing on the opposite sides, and if there is any precipitation which is forming in between, that may indicate it would be the animal. If we are using anti-animal antibody, if it is we are using anti-human antibody, then it can be the human blood. So like that, simple reactions can be conducted, and we can identify whether it was the human or not. So basically in this particular video we have just discussed the species determination of humans itself, not about other animals. So in this particular reactions we can also do the qualitative. We have discussed the qualitative reaction so far. Quantitative can also be done. The same topic of the species determination is again repeated in serology part of UGC net. So we will be discussing more detailedly in that part. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you have understood the concepts of identification of species or determination of species. Thank you for watching this video.